My best friend has bound a system that can absorb other people's luck. As soon as I heard the system voice, I immediately packed my things and fled in a hurry, because I was reborn and knew that the first unlucky person she would try to absorb luck from was me. In my previous life, she sucked away all my luck. Although I was the top student in my grade, I failed the college entrance examination, despite being in good health. I died of a terminal illness, this time around. I will definitely make sure that she can never absorb anyone's luck again. 1. At the beginning of the second year of senior high school, the class rearranged seats according to the grades of the previous semester. Holding the report card showing that I was the first in the grade, I walked to the middle of the first row. The classmates in the class all cast sidelong glances at me, looking at me in surprise. Before this, I had always been desk mates with my good best friend and we sat in the last 2 rows. Jiang Fanqing, Lin Yuewei came over and approached me, looking utterly confused. What are you doing? I put my school bag in the desk drawer and gently pointed at the desk with my chin. Changing seats. Lin Yuewei's body stiffened, and her eyes widened. You want to change seats? Why? Because the voice of your system is so loud that it disturbs me from having classes. I slightly turned my body and pushed Lin Yuewei away. Immediately, the system voice on her body rang out, disconnected from the target. The attempt to absorb luck failed. Please try again. I was reborn. I was reborn back to the second year of senior high school, before I started having bad luck. In my previous life, in order to tutor Lin Yuewei, I sat at the back of the classroom with her. Then, not long after, I started to catch colds and have fevers frequently, and even fell down on flat ground. Especially during exams. As soon as I entered the examination room, I would have a fever. As soon as I picked up the exam paper, I would have a headache. Even if I didn't feel uncomfortable, I would get injured and bleed due to bumps and bruises, and couldn't take the exam normally. Once or twice might be a coincidence, but having a fever and having accidents every time couldn't help but draw attention. My parents took me to see the most authoritative doctor. However, when the examination report came out, there was nothing wrong with me. The doctor said that my body was very healthy, and it might be a psychological problem. He suggested that I take a year off from school to adjust my mindset at home. Otherwise, in my current state, I wouldn't be able to take the college entrance examination. I followed the doctor's advice and applied for a leave of absence from school. During the year of my leave of absence, I never had a fever again. And there were no more accidents. I thought I was okay. However, during the college entrance examination, I had a fever for 3 consecutive days, reaching 42 degrees Celsius, and it wouldn't go down. Taking medicine, getting injections, and having infusions didn't work. As soon as I entered the examination room, my head would ache unbearably. I finished the exam with a nosebleed. As soon as I left the examination room, I knew I was finished. Sure enough, when the college entrance examination results came out, I scored more than 200 points and couldn't even get into a junior college. My teacher knew my academic level and advised me to repeat the senior year. Unfortunately, before I could sign up, I was diagnosed with advanced brain cancer. Obviously, there were no signs when I had a physical examination a month ago. My cancer cells spread and deteriorated very quickly. 2 days after I was admitted to the hospital, I was issued a death notice. The speed was so fast that I no longer had any fear of death. In the hospital ward, my relatives, friends, teachers, and classmates all felt sorry for me, especially my best friend who took a year off from school with me. She cried the most sorrowfully, almost heartbroken. Lin Yuewei was my closest friend. After she knew that I had taken a leave of absence from school due to illness, in order to accompany me, she also applied for a leave of absence. I was very touched and tried to persuade her countless times, but she wouldn't listen. I could only let her come to my home, and the tutor gave us tutoring together. During the leave of absence, we attended classes together, did exercise questions together, had meals together, and even slept together. We were as close as sisters and inseparable. Later, she performed exceptionally well and was admitted to the university that all students dreamed of. I was sincerely happy for her, but before I died, I heard the system voice coming from her body. The target's luck has been completely absorbed. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and successfully changing your fate. Only then did I know that she had been absorbing my luck all along. 2. After I died, my soul remained. I followed Lin Yuewei every day. I watched her keep looking for targets. Through physical contact or collecting hair, she continued to absorb other people's luck. I wanted to stop her, but I was powerless. In just 7 years, with the good luck she absorbed, she went from a poor student who received a student grant to a powerful business leader. At a young age, she was on the Forbes list, her reputation spread throughout the world, and she became an example for countless entrepreneurs to follow. Of course, during this period, many people died unexpectedly. After reaching the peak of her life, the system accomplished its mission and disappeared without a trace. Without the cheat system, Lin Yuwei wisely chose to retire and married into a wealthy family with hundreds of millions of assets. However, it's not easy to live in a wealthy family. The intrigues within those wealthy families are even more dangerous than the deception and business struggles. Without the system, Lin Yuwei had nothing but money. She was quickly eaten up by her overbearing in-laws. Finally, she died in a carefully arranged accident. At the scene of the car accident, before I could gloat, I heard the system voice that had disappeared for a long time ring out again, detected that the host's health value is 0. Do you choose to prepay 100 million luck points to activate time regression? Then, I was reborn along with Lin Yuwei. The first thing she did after being reborn was to lock onto me with the system without even a second of hesitation. Listening to the system voice on her body, I secretly laughed. Since I was also reborn, in this life, it's absolutely impossible for her to absorb anyone's luck again. 3. The classroom was noisy. The classmates were choosing seats according to their grades. Seeing that I had no intention of getting up, Lin Yuwei looked impatient and reached out to drag me. Stop making trouble. Class is about to start. Come back with me. In my previous life, she didn't dare to be so tough with me. She was really so spoiled by money and power that she forgot who she was. I slapped her hand away. Who are you? It's my freedom to choose where to sit. Aren't you meddling a bit too much? As soon as I said this, the noisy classroom fell silent instantly. Everyone couldn't believe that I would speak harshly to Lin Yuwei, because I had always been very kind to Lin Yuwei. Her family conditions were not good. Her parents divorced and each remarried. No one took care of her. I used my pocket money to pay for her tuition and living expenses. She had a bad stomach. I asked the nanny at home to regulate her diet. She had special meals for 3 meals a day, and I also accompanied her to exercise. She didn't study well. I changed seats and dormitories, paid out of my own pocket to buy exercise books and study materials, and tutored her personally. We also made an agreement to get into the same university. In the eyes of others, Lin Yuwei was a better best friend than my own mother. So at this moment, when I left her alone and sat in the front row, everyone was confused, including Lin Yuwei. What's wrong with you? Are you still minding that I'm getting too close to the people in the next class? Can you stop being unreasonable? It's my freedom to make friends with whomever I want. Aren't you also meddling a bit too much? The class beauty in the next class was her second target in the previous life. The two of them became best friends only after they entered university. In this life, Lin Yuwei should be planning to deal with me and then immediately move on to the next target. So she has been deliberately approaching the other person these days. The class beauty didn't know anything and naively made friends with her, and I couldn't avoid her fast enough. So how could I mind? You can make friends with whomever you like. What does it have to do with me? Lin Yuwei snickered, as if she had heard a joke. I'm laughing so hard. Who was the one shamelessly begging to be my deskmate and roommate? Who was the one following me around every day? Do you want me to play the recording of you begging the teacher for everyone to hear? To be honest, I was a bit embarrassed to be entangled with someone of this level in front of so many people. It was really embarrassing. Lin Yuwei looked very proud, and I was simply speechless. Whatever you want. Do whatever you want, just don't bother me. My disdainful look angered Lin Yuwei. She couldn't hold her face and became furious, unleashing her trump card. In that case, let's break up our friendship. Before, she was very good at pretending to be pitiful and weak, and then pretending to cry and say that we should break up. I would basically compromise. She always thought that I would fall for this, but that was in the previous life. Okay, when she heard my answer, Lin Yuwei's face turned pale, and she looked a bit disbelieving. What did you say? Did you hear me clearly? I said we should break up our friendship. Do you think I'm joking? I'm telling you, I'm angry. The consequences will be serious. I will never talk to you again, and it's impossible for me to say a single word to you. If you apologize now, I can take back what I just said. You're so fake. Fine, okay, sure. If you want to break up, then let's break up. Don't you ever regret it. She was so angry that she completely lost her composure. I covered my tortured ears. Okay, just go away. The class bell rang, and it was time for class to start. Lin Yuwei looked at the head teacher who came in. It seemed that she remembered something. Her irritability suddenly disappeared, and she inexplicably raised the corners of her mouth. Then she stretched out her finger and pointed to the seat next to me. Wang shouted, make an arrangement. I want to sit here. There was an uproar in the class. When the head teacher heard his own name suddenly, he was also slightly taken aback. After reacting, he pushed his glasses and said sternly, "Just because you are ranked where you are, you want to sit in the first row. Can't you see? Why don't you get a pair of glasses? There are so many people wearing glasses at the back who haven't said anything. Are you the only one who can't see?" The rule of arranging seats in our class according to grades was set at the beginning of the first year of senior high school. On what basis are you making an exception? The head teacher lectured Lin Yuewei. Lin Yuewei listened with a gloomy expression, her eyes blazing with anger, as if she was enduring a great humiliation. After gnashing her teeth for a long time, she finally managed to squeeze out a harsh word, "Fine, I'll remember you. Don't come to me for help in the future." For goodness sake, wake up. Can she ever figure out her own identity? Does she still think she's a business leader who influences international finance? Was it with this stupid brain that she became a CEO in the previous life? I gritted my teeth and covered my mouth to stop myself from laughing. The head teacher over there had been so angry that he laughed. Go. If you don't want to attend class, stand at the door. Don't act crazy here, being scolded by the teacher in front of so many people. Lin Yuewei was so angry that her chest heaved violently. Finally, she gave me a vicious glare and walked out of the classroom, but I knew she would come back to me, because after she locked onto me, she couldn't absorb luck from others, and she still owes the system 100 million luck points. There is interest on that. If she can't pay the fixed amount every month, she will have really bad luck. 3. I thought she would come to pester me as soon as class was over, but a whole day passed. And she didn't come to me even once, nor did she say a word to me. When someone asked about it, she looked indifferent and said that she didn't lack a best friend, and there were plenty of people who wanted to be friends with her. That haughty attitude clearly showed that she still hadn't woken up from the glory and wealth of her previous life. I didn't respond and just focused on my studies. Now the whole class was sure that we had fallen out. There were some people who liked to watch the excitement and came over to ask me when I would apologize. After all, I was known for having a bad temper but being quick to calm down. Every time I had a conflict with Lin Yuewei before, I was the one who took the initiative to make up. The rich second generation coaxing the poor girl was the most popular drama they liked to watch. Unfortunately, this time they were destined to be disappointed. After the last class ended, I got up and left the classroom. Our school is a full boarding school. We can't leave the school at night. After a 40-minute break, we still have 2 big self-study sessions. I have to hurry to the cafeteria to eat during this time. I slowly moved with the crowd going downstairs. Lin Yuewei strode past me, chatting and laughing with several girls, and she glanced at me from time to time. She exuded an unimaginable childishness all over. Seeing this, my problem of feeling embarrassed for others flared up again. They chattered and entered the cafeteria. I had goosebumps all over and quickened my pace towards the school gate. Just as I was about to walk out of the school gate, the system voice suddenly sounded behind me, and Lin Yuewei suddenly grabbed me. "Jiang Fanqing, where are you going? There are several teachers on duty at the school gate every night after school, in case there are students who sneak out." Her shout drew the attention of all the teachers to me. The director of the teaching affairs office walked up to me with his arms crossed. "Which class are you from?" I shook off Lin Yuewei's grip. "Jiang Fanqing, Class 7, Grade 2 of senior high school." The director of the teaching affairs office confirmed the name on my school uniform, looked at the list in his hand, and stepped aside to let me pass. "Okay, go ahead." I thanked the director of the teaching affairs office and was just about to step forward, unexpectedly. Lin Yuewei grabbed me back again. "Stop, you can't leave." I stumbled because of her pull. The director of the teaching affairs office saw this and loudly reprimanded us. "What are you doing? What kind of behavior is it to be pulling and tugging at the school gate?" Lin Yuewei's previous calmness was all an act. Now that she saw that I was about to leave the school, she finally got anxious. "Why don't you stop her from leaving the school? Can the top student in the grade do whatever they want?" Upon hearing this, the director of the teaching affairs office explained seriously. "She has applied for day study. She can leave after school." Lin Yuewei's expression changed, and she turned to question me. "What? You applied for day study? When? Why didn't you tell me?" I broke free from her hand and smiled at her flustered expression. "Is it any of your business?" After saying that, I walked out of the school gate without looking back. "Wait a minute, don't go yet, Jiang Fanqing. You can't leave." Lin Yuewei behind me still wanted to rush over and grab me, but she was stopped by the director of the teaching affairs office and several other teachers. "Which class are you from? Instead of going to the self-study session, You're here at the school gate meddling in whether others go home or not. Do you want to sneak out? Go back to your classroom, otherwise, I'll call your parents to come and take you home. Lin Yuewei didn't care about anyone else now. Jiang Fanqing, stop. If you leave today, don't expect me to forgive you in the future. We were both reborn. Why is it that her brain seems to have been refreshed? I didn't even bother to give her a glance and just went out and took a car home. When I got home, my parents hadn't come back from work yet, and the nanny left after cooking. I had dinner, took a shower, and did my homework alone. When I finished the last exam paper and was about to go to bed, I found that my phone had run out of battery. It was fully charged when I took a taxi. I was puzzled, plugged it into charge and turned it on. Immediately, countless missed calls and messages popped up on my phone. They were all from Lin Yuewei. Fanqing, answer the phone. Jiang Fanqing, where are you? Call me back when you see this. Come out and pick me up. Why is there no one at your home? Where are you living now? If you don't answer the phone, I'll call the police. Why aren't you answering the phone? Where are you? Answer the phone, answer the phone. I'm telling you to answer the phone. I'm calling the police. Jiang Fanqing, there's an exam tomorrow. If you have the guts, don't go out. I roughly counted. In the 3 hours from after school until now, Lin Yuewei had sent me no less than 300 messages, both calls and WeChat. All the content was asking where I was and telling me to go find her, later. It seemed that she ran out of the school and went to my home to look for me. She was simply crazy. Fortunately, I had the foresight to move into the new house my mom bought, otherwise, I would have been driven crazy by this madwoman tonight. I directly blocked and deleted her. After the operation, I found a new group in WeChat with over 999 plus messages. The group was full of my classmates from the same class, and there were also a few from other classes, but Lin Yuewei wasn't in it. What happened? Out of curiosity, I clicked in and scrolled to the top to see a video. In the video, Lin Yuewei was scolding the director of the teaching affairs office at the school gate. The person filming was very close, and the picture was clear. With clear sound, Lin Yuewei was seen standing with one hand on her hip and pointing at the director of the teaching affairs office's nose. Do you know who you're talking to? Even the director of the education bureau treats me with respect. Who the hell are you? I'm warning you. I'm different from others. You can't afford to mess with me. Get out of the way before I lose my patience. Don't make me say it a second time, otherwise, you'll be fired. The onlookers at the school gate were obviously shocked by Lin Yuewei. There were exclamations of fuck in the noisy background sound. The director of the teaching affairs office suppressed his anger and grabbed the cursing Lin Yuewei and walked towards the administrative building. The video ended here, and there were uniform fuck. That's awesome in the group, explosive. Is there anyone at the scene? Come out and explain. Lin Yuewei is really awesome. An emoji of an old man on the subway looking at his phone, daring to scold the director of the teaching affairs office. I'd call her the strongest in one middle school. Damn it, isn't this the real Lan Outyin? Wait, don't you think her aura is very different? I don't think she's joking. Maybe Lin Yuewei really has some special background. What background could she have? I don't know. Ask your class monitor. Aren't they on good terms now? At Brilliant as Stars, they had a fight. They ignored each other today and have been in a cold war for a whole day. There's something going on. The monitor must know something. There were too many messages in the group. I flipped through and looked at a couple of them and picked a few to reply to. My phone was on mute and I didn't see it. Her affairs have nothing to do with me. Going to sleep. There's an exam tomorrow. Everyone go to sleep quickly. After replying to the messages, I turned my phone to flight mode, covered myself with the quilt, and went to sleep. Tomorrow is the day when I had a fever during the first exam in my previous life. I didn't do well in the exam because of a cold last time. This time, away from Lin Yuewei, I must do well in the exam and get back my first place. 4. The exam the next day went very smoothly. There was no fever, no falling, no splitting headache, no nosebleed. There were no unlucky accidents at all. Leaving the examination room, I couldn't control the upward curve of my mouth and felt my whole body slightly trembling. Finally, things were back to normal. In my previous life, being unable to take the exam had become my shadow. I was eager to prove myself, but the more anxious I was, the unluckier I became. At that time, Lin Yuewei was always by my side, accompanying me, comforting me, and encouraging me. I was very touched and regarded her as my only close friend, but I didn't know that she was the one who caused my continuous bad luck. At this moment, the culprit should be in the police station being criticized and educated by the police uncle. Because she made a ruckus in front of my old house, which had already been emptied, all night, That house has one household per floor and there's no problem of disturbing the neighbors. She was banging on the door all night, being very persistent. Jiang Fanqing, come out, I know you're home, let's talk. I shouldn't have been harsh on you before, I'm apologizing to you. What's wrong with you? Why did you suddenly ignore me? Open the door and make it clear. Is it because of Wang Ziki from class 5? I won't talk to her anymore. Okay, I won't get too close to anyone else except you in the future. I'll only be friends with you. Are you satisfied now, Fanqing? Aren't we good sisters? Let me in. Okay, Jiang Fanqing. My patience has limits. If you don't open the door, I'll call the police. Hello, locksmith company. I forgot the password and need to unlock the door. Why can't you open it? How dare you question me, a locksmith? Do you believe that I can make you unable to survive in City A? In the morning, Lin Yuewei still hadn't left. I sent the surveillance video to the property management. The property management, accompanied by security guards, came to verify that Lin Yuewei was not the owner. They decisively chose to call the police. When the police came and asked her to leave immediately, Lin Yuewei refused to leave. During the scuffle, Lin Yuewei even angrily slapped a policeman and boasted that she had connections in the police station. She said that whoever dared to touch her would make their life a living hell. As soon as she said this, the police uncle immediately gave her 3 warnings and a pepper spray treatment. I controlled the surveillance in front of the anti-theft door and sent the scene of her going crazy and being irritable to the group that was newly created yesterday. What on earth happened to her? Besides fuck, all I can say is awesome. Is she crazy? Damn, that's so scary. What kind of perverted behavior is this? Was she this kind of person all along? Monitor, did you kill her whole family? At Brilliant as Stars, this is a surveillance video, right? Where is she? In front of my house. It said that she secretly ran out of the school yesterday, so she went to your home. Damn, that's scary. I thought she was quite gentle before. Why has she become like this now? Scary. Stay away from her in the future. Be careful of getting entangled with her. Without knowing the whole story, don't comment. Damn, who is this? So bold. No matter what the problem is between them, Lin Yuewei's behavior of trying to unlock someone else's door is illegal. There's nothing wrong with staying away from this kind of person. Yeah, she even dared to assault a police officer. Is she crazy? Today is the exam, and some people haven't come out of the examination room yet. There are only a few people in the group, but the discussion is extremely hot. No matter what was said, everyone realized that they should keep a distance from Lin Yuewei. Seeing that my goal was achieved, I went out, took a car, and left the school. At this time, Lin Yuewei came running over panting. We looked at each other through the car window. Oh, she finally realized that she was in the wrong place. The moment she saw me, her pupils suddenly contracted, and uncontrollable anger burst out in her eyes. Jiang Fanqing, Lin Yuewei hadn't slept all night. Her face was pale, her hair was messy, her eyes were red and swollen, and her eyes were fierce. She looked like she was in an abnormal mental state. She rushed up and violently yanked the door handle, which startled Uncle Lu, our driver who had a background in Sonda. I patted the driver's seat to indicate that he didn't need to worry. Uncle Lu immediately stepped on the gas and drove away. Seeing that the car didn't stop, Lin Yuewei grabbed the car door and chased after it fiercely. But how could 2 legs catch up with 4 wheels? Jiang Fanqing, get out of the car. Where are you going? Come back. Lin Yuewei chased after the car, screaming at the top of her lungs. Her figure got smaller and smaller. I rolled down the car window and waved at her. She became even more irritable. This hysterical and impotently furious look was really pleasing to the eye. Uncle Lu was still in shock. He drove all the way to the airport at high speed. Surprisingly, he arrived a quarter of an hour early without speeding or breaking any traffic rules. The nanny had already packed her things and was waiting in advance. I took the boarding pass, boarded the plane, and took my seat. The flight attendant reminded us to turn off our phones or put them in flight mode, touching my phone, which had been vibrating nonstop and was already getting hot. I suddenly felt that it might be a bit too heartless not to say a word, so I held up my plane ticket, took a selfie, and posted it on my Moments. I'm emigrating. See you if we're destined to meet again. 5. In fact, I was just representing the school to participate in a competition. The training and the exam would take at most half a month. As long as one made a little inquiry, they could know my whereabouts. However, Lin Yuewei wasn't a person who focused on her studies in her previous life. She wasn't interested in the competitions organized by the school at all and didn't know any information about the competitions. In this life, she had a dispute with the director of the teaching affairs office again, offended the school leaders in advance, and lost all her good impression in front of the teachers. She had no way to inquire, among the classmates, with my intentional or unintentional reminders. A tacit understanding of keeping a respectful distance from her was formed. And she was gradually isolated, so after I suddenly left, Lin Yuewei completely went crazy. I didn't know exactly how crazy she was because I turned off my phone every day. I only heard from my classmates who participated in the competition together that she saw my moments from someone else. First, she made a big scene in front of the head teacher, blaming the head teacher for giving students leave without permission and threatening to report to the Education Bureau. Then she went to the entrance of my mom's company to make a scene, saying that my family was xenophobic and had the suspicion of embezzlement and absconding with money. Finally, she went to the police station to report me, saying that I had illegally left the country and insisting that the police arrest me and bring me back. The police didn't accept her case. She even brought out the leaders from the provincial department to pressure them and was criticized by the police and driven out again. There were too many absurd things about her. Every night when I returned to the hotel, I would first turn on my phone and look at the gossip on WeChat for a while to relieve my tiredness of the day. Because of her, I combined work and rest during this competition and performed quite well. I should be able to get a good result. Half a month passed in a flash, the competition ended soon, and it was time for me to go back to school. Someone in the group reminded me that Lin Yuewei somehow got the news. She suddenly stopped causing trouble these 2 days and became very quiet. Moreover, she didn't know by what means she had changed seats with the physics class representative. When I went back, I would be at the same table as her. I said I didn't care. She could sit wherever she wanted. I couldn't control that, however. Based on my understanding of Lin Yuewei, she would definitely play some other dirty tricks, and she must have been holding back a big one. The next day when I returned to school, as soon as I showed up, Lin Yuewei blocked my way. Just like before, she looked at me pitifully. I'm sorry, Fanqing, I was wrong before, let's make up. She seemed to have lost her memory and forgotten about her previous crazy behavior. Okay, I've apologized now, hurry up and move back. I haven't eaten well these days when you were away. Look, I've lost weight. They look down on people and dare to exclude me. Now no one in the class talks to me. I only have you. You can't ignore me. I sneered and completely ignored her. I turned around and walked around her towards the teaching building. Lin Yuewei was ignored by me. She controlled her expression and tightly grabbed me. That's enough, Jiang Fanqing. I've already apologized. What else do you want? I forcefully shook her off. I just want to stay away from you. Are you shameless? We've broken up, and you still follow me around and harass me every day. Aren't you cheap? During the morning self-study, there were many students cleaning the playground. When they passed by and saw the two of us, they took out their phones with a gossipy look and sent messages. I don't know which action of theirs stimulated Lin Yuewei. She broke down and started yelling. Jiang Fanqing, you're the cheap one. Get it straight, it was you who begged me to be your best friend, not me begging you. I'm giving you a way out now. Don't be ungrateful. I took out my phone and waved it. I'm laughing so hard. A way out. Who was it that called and texted me every day, even after being blocked? You still harassed me with strange numbers. Do you want me to post the text messages where you apologized and begged for forgiveness for everyone to see? Half a month ago, she used these words to mock me. Now it's my turn to mock her. Lin Yuewei had been a CEO for a lifetime. How could she stand this? She immediately put on an expression of not caring at all. Fine, you're amazing. Someday you'll regret it and beg me. Just you wait. With that, she turned around and left, walking into the No. 2 teaching building with a gloomy face all the way. I didn't expect that after not seeing her for half a month, she became even more irritable. I patted the non-existent dust on my body, waved to the others around me, and turned to leave. All the way, there were classmates who gossiped with me about Lin Yuewei. When they saw me turn and walk towards the No. 1 teaching building, they all widened their eyes in surprise. Hey, did you go the wrong way? I shook my head. No, I'm going to take the competition route from now on. So I applied to transfer classes. The classmate covered her mouth and laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, there's going to be a good show later. Lin Yuewei has been going crazy looking for you since you left. She finally waited for you to come back, and now you're transferring classes. She'll probably go crazy again when she finds out. What on earth happened between you two? Why does she keep pestering you? Because she wants to absorb my luck. If I said this, no one would believe me. They would definitely think I was the crazy one. I smiled helplessly and didn't answer. The preparatory bell rang. Everyone quickly went upstairs and back to their classrooms. I also entered the new class along with the bell. The new class had a stronger learning atmosphere. Everyone was busy with their own things and wouldn't pay too much attention to others. I simply introduced myself and then randomly found a seat to sit down and started doing exercises. 10 minutes later, my phone started vibrating. It was an unknown number. Where are you? Why aren't you in class yet? I didn't even need to guess the tone. It must have been sent by Lin Yuewei. I turned off my phone, ignored it, and lowered my head to do the exercises. 6. Halfway through the class, Lin Yuewei's shrill screams came from the corridor. Jiang Fanqing. The class was interrupted, and the whole class looked at Lin Yuewei, who burst in suddenly, with a dazed expression. Lin Yuewei pushed open the classroom door and rushed over like crazy to pull my hair. You bitch, what are you showing off for? Do you really think I can't live without you? Transferring classes, who do you think you are? So what if you're a rich second generation? Big deal, your first in grade ranking was bought with money. Do you think I don't know? I didn't want to break up with you, but you forced me. I kicked her down. The classmates in the class saw that she was acting crazy and quickly came up to stop the fight. Lin Yuewei was pulled away. She looked at the hair tangled in her hands with a frenzied expression and muttered to herself, it's too late. I couldn't help but laugh, calculating the time. It should be the time to return the system's luck. If she can't pay it back, her own luck will be deducted instead. Lin Yuewei knew best the consequences of losing luck, so she was desperate and wanted to pull my hair. She had 2 ways to absorb people's luck. The first way was to have physical contact with the target. This way, she could absorb more, but only slowly. The second way was to collect the target's hair to open a remote channel. This way, she could absorb less, but it was fast, and she didn't need to get close to the target. In the previous life, in the later stage, Lin Yuewei absorbed other people's luck through the second method. She killed many people and was investigated by the police, but with Lin Yuewei's status at that time, she disdained to spend extra time flattering the target. If there were any lives involved, there would always be someone to settle it for her. In this life, Lin Yuewei needed a large amount of luck and didn't have the ability to deal with homicide cases, so she chose the first method, but she didn't expect that she couldn't get close to me. Lin Yuewei's eyes were full of ferocity. She struggled, frantically, to get close to me but was stopped by others. The head teacher ran in panting and came up to drag her, gnashing his teeth. Lin Yuewei, you don't need to attend class anymore. Get out of here right now. Last time, Lin Yuewei scolded the director of the teaching affairs office. She also left the school privately at night and was given a demerit. She made a scene in front of my house, assaulted a police officer, and had a bad attitude, so she was criticized and educated. When I participated in the competition, she skipped classes and reported the school. She hadn't been dealt with yet, judging from Teacher Wang's words. The school originally wanted to expel her. Now that she still didn't repent and continued to act crazy, she was likely to be expelled, but Lin Yuewei didn't care at all. She just stared at me with gloomy eyes, her face cold. The commotion in the class was too big. Many teachers came to help. When the director of the Political and Educational Affairs Office came in and saw that it was her again, he mercilessly dragged the screaming and cursing Lin Yuewei out of the classroom. At noon, when school was over that day, someone came to tell me that Lin Yuewei had been expelled and her family was making trouble at the school. Through the video sent by others in the group, I saw her father and mother, along with their respective elders and children, surrounding and scolding the head teacher on the playground. They said that Lin Yuewei had gone bad at school and the school should be responsible for her future life. They not only demanded huge compensation but also asked the school to recommend Lin Yuewei to Tsinghua University. If the requirements were not met, Lin Yuewei's younger brother and sister should be admitted as special cases, and all the tuition fees from junior high school to high school should be waived. The group was in an uproar. Some people thought that Lin Yuewei's family was daydreaming and her craziness was genetic. Some people thought that Lin Yuewei was pitiful. Her biological parents didn't care about her and instead wanted to use her as a stepping stone to pave the way for their other children. Everyone discussed wildly, but I didn't express any opinion. I packed my school bag and prepared to go home. When passing by the playground, Lin Yuewei's mother saw me and rushed up in one step. Stop. Are you the classmate who paid my daughter's tuition? She's been expelled and doesn't need to go to school anymore. Give the tuition to her younger brother. After all, we're all family. It's the same. Her father, who couldn't persuade the head teacher, also came to block me. If you give the tuition to her younger brother, then you have to give the living expenses to her younger sister. Take both children with you when you tutor. Junior high school students are easy to teach. Where did these beggars come from? How shameless. Do they really think I'm a stupid rich second generation? You can't reason with people who are unreasonable and pestering. You have to be more unreasonable and pestering than them. I glared, turned around, and grabbed her parents. Who the hell are you? How dare you make demands on me? Lin Yuewei swindled 200,000 yuan from me. I haven't even asked you for it yet. They didn't believe me at all. I opened the transfer record for them to see. A month ago, before I was reborn, Lin Yuewei borrowed 200,000 yuan from me, saying that it was to test our sisterly relationship. At that time, I transferred the money without hesitation. After the test, she didn't return it. 200,000 yuan wasn't a big deal to me, but when her family saw the transfer amount, their eyes widened. So much money, where is she? Get the money back. I didn't see her just now. She must have run away, unfilial daughter. I gave birth to her, and she should support me. She hid the money and didn't say anything. She's really an ungrateful wretch from the bottom of her heart. No way, she's still a minor. Her assets should be managed by her parents. Quick, find her immediately. The group of people discussed how to distribute the money as if no one else was around. They suddenly shook off my hand, afraid that I would hear. That was a loan. Whoever borrowed it. You go find them, it has nothing to do with us. As if afraid of being blackmailed, they quickly left the school. I pretended to be persistent and chased out of the school gate. Uncle Lu had been waiting at the gate for a long time and immediately drove the car in front of me. When Lin Yuewei's family saw the luxury car and Uncle Lu's burly figure, they didn't dare to come up and make a scene. They were really bullying the weak and fearing the strong, cowardly and greedy. I didn't intend to entangle with these people in the first place. I gave them the middle finger, opened the car door, and got in. At this time, a man in gray suddenly rushed up from the side and cut off my braid with scissors. After cutting, he ran away. Uncle Lu was afraid of his accomplices and didn't dare to chase. He immediately called the police. When the police came, they said that the nearby surveillance was broken and didn't capture the person. They had to go back and investigate. I held my phone in front of the police. No need for surveillance. It was him who cut my hair. This person was Lin Yuewei's neighbor and also a hooligan from the vocational high school next door. In the previous life, he had done many shady things for Lin Yuewei. I knew him very well. With my clue, the police quickly caught the person. Although his behavior didn't constitute the crime of intentional injury, it still violated the law on Public Security Administration punishments. He might face a fine or public security detention. My lawyer, on the grounds that I had suffered mental harm, refused to mediate and said that he would sue in court. That hooligan was still young and inexperienced. As soon as he saw my lawyer team, he immediately confessed Lin Yuewei. He said that Lin Yuewei promised him that as long as he cut my hair, she would date him. The hooligan had liked Lin Yuewei since he was a child and thought that cutting someone's hair wasn't a criminal act. So he agreed. He didn't expect to be caught. Lin Yuewei was brought to the police station. She firmly denied any involvement. The hooligan cursed, but he couldn't produce any evidence, so he was detained civilly by the police. After the matter was over, Lin Yuewei raised a smiling face, looked at me with confidence, and slowly raised her wrist. On it was a bracelet woven with hair. The style was strange and special, making people feel uneasy. Is it beautiful? You know what? You won't live for more than 2 days, originally. You could have lived for 2 more years, but because you always act so arrogant, I'm taking back this chance. Regret it, you. Someone interrupted her delusion. Lin Yuewei, you good for nothing. Hand over the money. Her parents suddenly rushed into the police station, dragged Lin Yuewei onto the street, and slapped her in the face. I ended the location sharing and stepped aside to watch the show. Unfilial daughter, you have money but don't support your parents. You don't know how to be grateful at all. You're a heartless good for nothing. I really shouldn't have given birth to you back then. Give me the money, or I'll beat you to death, you dirty-hearted slut. Do you want to embezzle that money alone? That's all for your younger brother. Bullshit. I'm his father. She has my surname. Why should it be given to your son? Yuewei, you're so stupid. You're a girl. What's the point of going to school? If you don't get married early, you can only find someone with poor conditions now. Don't listen to your grandma. Grandma has found you a good one. He's only in his early 30s. There's only one daughter in the family and no son. You should seize this opportunity well. If you marry in, there will be a 100,000 yuan betrothal gift. 7. As soon as Lin Yuewei saw her parents, her previous arrogance immediately disappeared. She froze on the spot. Her whole expression was dazed, her eyes were dull, and her body couldn't stop shaking. as if she had seen a terrifying demon. She was so torn by her relatives that she couldn't stand steadily. She reached out to me in a panic, opening her mouth as if she wanted to say something. I glanced at her, turned around, and left, ignoring the helplessness in her eyes. In the previous life, when we first met, she was also so helpless. At the beginning of the first year of senior high school, at the school gate, she was dressed in rags, carrying a sack, and was being scolded by her parents, pointing at her nose. They said that she was unwilling to work to earn money to share the burden for her parents, nor was she willing to get married to exchange the betrothal gift money to build a house for her parents. Instead, she was daydreaming about asking her parents for money to go to school. If they didn't agree, she would steal money and run away. She was simply an ungrateful wretch. They wanted to drag Lin Yue back to the village to get married. I saw her being dragged back step by step. The light in her eyes, like an extinguished flame, gradually dimmed and became empty and hopeless. I couldn't bear it and felt that I should do something. So I reached out and pulled her, with someone sponsoring. Her family finally agreed to let her come back to school, but like leeches, they took all the sponsored money. I had no choice but to support her with my pocket money. At first, she was very grateful to me. Although she was introverted and shy to say thank you, she studied very hard. She only slept 4 hours a day, skipped meals, and did exercises frantically, as if she wanted to repay me. She would put the report card on my desk every time she made progress in the exam. I really admired people who worked hard. Unconsciously, I got closer and closer to her. Because of pity, I was also getting better and better to her. If she couldn't do the problems, I would explain them to her. If she had no food to eat, I would bring it to her. If she had no clothes to wear, I would buy the same ones for her as mine. If she had no mobile phone to use, I would buy her the latest model. If she had never traveled far, I would take her on a trip. If she had no other friends, I would bring her into my circle of friends. Later, she no longer had the shabbiness and timidity she had when we first met. When we went out to play together, people always thought that she was also a wealthy daughter. Slowly, she began to focus on things other than study. I noticed it, but I didn't think there was a problem, because I wasn't a person who just studied hard, and I wouldn't force others to just bury their heads in doing exercises and have no other life at all. But her grades were originally not good. Even if she worked hard, she could only rank in the middle, lower part of the grade. She might not even be able to get into college. What would she do if she didn't go to college? That family of vampires would definitely come to torment her again, to stimulate her. I said that I could help her for a while, but I couldn't help her for a lifetime. After knowing my attitude, she cried unbelievably for several days. It took me a long time to persuade her to focus on her studies. She didn't know how to study, so I tutored her personally. I asked the teacher to change the dormitory and seats for us and made an agreement to get into the same university, in order to make her focus and not be affected by other things. I no longer gave her money for things other than study. She complained a few times, but she didn't dare to ask for more. I thought she could understand my good intentions. But she showed me with her actions that she not only didn't understand but also chose to bite the hand that fed her. With a bloody lesson, I deeply realized what a little kindness breeds gratitude, while excessive kindness breeds resentment. Means, this time, I didn't care about her and let her be dragged away by her family, pulling her hair. The disaster that she avoided in the previous life, let her taste it well in this life. When I left the police station and returned home, I took off the messy wig. Looking at my shiny bald head, I couldn't help but sigh. It's really a pity that I can't see her look unlucky when her luck is deducted with my own eyes. 8. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. I really couldn't stand the stuffiness of the wig, so when I went to class with a bald head, ignoring everything outside the window, the competition class exploded. Fanqing, what's wrong with you? Is there any special reason? Too lazy to wash your hair? Shaving your head is really convenient. Washing your hair in the morning really wastes time. The time saved can be used to do several more problems. I've got it. So this is the reason why your grades are so good. I'm going to shave my head too. Many people came to visit my bald head every day after class. I was a bit uncomfortable at first, but after a few days, it was okay. In school, the most important thing was still grades. Even if I was laughed at, in the end, I was still firmly in the first place in the grade. Some people thought that shaving my head reduced my appearance anxiety and allowed me to focus more on my studies. So, a week later, there were several more shiny bald heads in the school. I was really speechless about this. Fortunately, the bald head craze didn't last long. Other rumors gradually spread in the school. It was a rumor about Lin Yue. An insider in the group revealed Lin Yue was taken back to the village and locked up. She was going to marry a man who was a dozen years older than her. Then, on the wedding day, she accidentally broke her leg. The two families started arguing about Lin Yuewei becoming disabled at the wedding banquet. The man's family didn't want a disabled person, and the woman's family didn't want to return the betrothal gift. The two sides quarreled fiercely and smashed the wedding to pieces. In the end, Lin Yuewei's family was more successful in lying on the ground, crying, shouting, and threatening to commit suicide, and they won the final victory. The man's family was angry and took her home to deliberately torment her, showing no mercy. Even with a broken leg, she still had to do the laundry, cook, and work in the fields every day. Lin Yuewei couldn't stand this suffering, while the old man was drunk. She stole all the money in the house and ran away overnight. She ran back to the city, and then she didn't know where she got the information of several rich second generations. She called and sent WeChat messages to them every day. Someone who knew the parties involved sent over the chat screenshots. "Hi, long time no see. Who? You don't know who I am, but I know you. You are the heir of Goyu Group and will marry the daughter of the mayor's family in the future. I know you don't like Chu Yenyu, and I can help you. Who are you? Come to this address to pick me up, and you'll know. I'm injured and need a sum of money for treatment. If you help me, I won't treat you badly. When I'm better, I'll set up a company and be your backing. Then your parents won't force you anymore." At this point, she was blocked. Then there was the chat record with another person. "Feng Chihan, I'm Lin Yuewei." "Who? I've never heard of you. I know you're under house arrest abroad now. As long as you transfer money to this account, I can help you deal with your stepbrother. Where did you find out about this? And how can you help me? Your stepbrother likes me. He'll listen to what I say. Then I'll make him give the company to you." Damn it, where did this crazy person come from? This person also cursed at her before blocking her. The following things were really strange. Goo biting. "I'm Lin Yuewei. Ah, you finally added me. There's a crazy person named Lin Yuewei going around lately, only adding rich second generations and acting crazy. I've been waiting for several days. I thought I was kicked out of the rich second generation circle. Alright, let's start the routine. I'm really curious about what you know. Hurry up. I'm in a hurry to take a screenshot." These rich second generations in the group were probably bored and had nothing to do. They tacitly used Lin Yuewei as a pastime. They would chat a few words now and then show the chat screenshots, sharing Lin Yuewei's grandiose words with everyone. People in the group who saw the chat screenshots started to feel extremely embarrassed, as if they were digging the floor of a villa with their feet. There were constant complaints, and some gossip was mixed in. "Since we were classmates, how about pooling some money to get her brain checked? I'm already so embarrassed for her that I've mentally dug out a 3-bedroom and 1 living room apartment. Do you know, Lin Yuewei couldn't catch a rich second generation, and it seems that she got together with a hooligan next door. I can testify that this is true. I saw Lin Yuewei going to a hotel with someone, and the other person was wearing what seemed to be the school uniform of the vocational high school next door. The key is that she was still on crutches. Damn it. What was she thinking? Is that so? She was talking to my uncle's client. How old is your uncle? He's 56, and his client is about the same age. What? I saw it with my own eyes. She was in the party photo my uncle sent. I wasn't sure, so I didn't dare to say anything. Picture, JPG, damn it, just looking at his face, he could be my grandpa. Hey, this man has a bald head just like the monitor. Could this be some unique taste substitute plot? Puff ha 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 ha. The monitor was innocently dragged into this. In the photo, a group of people were in a KTV private room, and both men and women were laughing happily. The man in the middle was estimated to be in his 50s or 60s. He had a bald head, a gold necklace, and his exposed arms were covered with tattoos. He kissed the girl in his arms lewdly, and one hand was even under her skirt. The girl was heavily made up and looked shy. It was, obviously, Lin Yuewei, who had been expelled for more than a month. Others were shocked by the degradation of the so-called Dragon Outyin, a powerful and overbearing character, and they were chatting and complaining in the group with laughter. But I looked at the man with the bald head and gold necklace and fell into deep thought. This man was an international fugitive. He was jointly wanted by several countries for murder, robbery, and illegal smuggling in the previous life. This person kidnapped Lin Yuewei, but was convinced by the aura of Lin Yuewei and was willing to submit and serve her. But that was something that happened several years later. He shouldn't be here now, unless Lin Yuewei used some method to contact him in advance. Thinking of the possible danger, I called my father and applied for boarding at school. Then when I went home on weekends, in addition to Uncle Lou, Several more muscular bodyguards were added, with such an arrangement. I thought I was safe, but I was still kidnapped. 9. The bald-headed man kidnapped me, euphemistically saying that he was inviting me to his place as a guest. Besides me, many other people were also invited. All the hostages were, without exception, the daughters of wealthy families or the sons of important political figures in the city. On the first day, we were forced to talk to our parents as the robbers demanded. In order not to suffer physical pain, I obediently did as they said. The other girls who were kidnapped with me were all scared out of their wits. When they called their parents, they couldn't even speak clearly and could only cry. The bald-headed man kidnapped us because he wanted to open the city's illegal trading market through coercion. After all, our parents were all influential, powerful, and wealthy people. As long as he could control one of them, the bald-headed man's forces could fully penetrate, and his plan could be carried out smoothly. And it was Lin Yuewei who provided our information to the bald-headed man. After 3 months, I saw her again in this dilapidated warehouse. She had a high fever and was sitting in a wheelchair, being pushed past me. She looked really pitiful, just like me when I was constantly having bad luck in the previous life, and even more miserable. The pant legs between her legs were empty. Obviously, she had been amputated. I didn't expect that the price of not being able to return the luck to the system would be so high. Besides being surprised, I only felt a sense of secret pleasure. Evil deeds will eventually meet with retribution. She deserved it. She understood the expression on my face. She was full of viciousness and unwillingness, but she didn't do anything, because she didn't dare, in this life. Lin Yuewei relied on providing information and selling her charm to get close to the bald-headed man with the gold necklace. In this strictly hierarchical criminal group, she was the lowest in status. She didn't have the superiority and arrogance in front of the underworld that she had in the previous life at all. We still had some use value. The bald-headed man said that no one could act rashly before he achieved his goal. Lin Yuewei was afraid of ruining the bald-headed man's important plan, so how dare she not listen? On the second day of being kidnapped, several parents compromised. The bald-headed man kept his promise and released them, and he planned to sell the rest to Myanmar. I was among them. When Lin Yuewei learned of this, she requested to deal with me personally. The bald-headed man took someone into the room and tossed around for a day before agreeing to her request. Lin Yuewei came to me with injuries all over her body and a distorted expression. She viciously threw a ball of hair at my face. You deceived me so badly, Jiang Fanqing. Changing seats. Moving house, transferring classes, wearing a wig, let me guess. In fact, you were reborn too, right? And, you know I have a system and that I can absorb your luck, so you deliberately avoided me. Haha, I should have guessed it earlier. When you inexplicably changed seats, I should have noticed it, but it's not too late now. You made me so miserable. I must make you taste the pain I've suffered. I'll cut off your hands and feet, turn you into a human pig, and take you with me every day. Then you'll never be able to run away again. I'll absorb you bit by bit and then chop you up and feed you to the dogs. Humph. Not letting her absorb my luck is considered harming her. Her values are completely messed up. She was too close to me, and she smelled bad. It was really disgusting. Stimulated by my disgusted expression, Lin Yuewei gave a sinister smile. What are you pretending to be noble for? Do you think you can escape? I'll make arrangements for you tonight. I'll make sure you can neither live nor die. My hands and feet were tied up with ropes, and I couldn't avoid her restraint. I sighed helplessly. You know what? Villains usually die because they talk too much. What? At this time, the rumbling sound of propellers faintly came from a distance. Then the warehouse door was suddenly broken open, and a group of policemen rushed in. Don't move, you're surrounded. Put down your weapons and surrender immediately. The robbers were caught off guard and fled in panic. Some people tried to resist, but they were no match for the absolute force. The bald-headed man was quickly subdued by the police. Lin Yuewei looked at the chaotic situation and took out a dagger with a pale face. It doesn't matter. As long as you're dead, I can still absorb luck from others. She grinned viciously and held up the knife, stabbing towards my chest. At this time, the daughter of a wealthy family who had been crying beside me suddenly broke free from her restraint, took a step forward, and subdued Lin Yuewei. The suspect has been controlled. Let's withdraw. After saying this, all the daughters and sons of wealthy families threw off the ropes on their bodies and quickly joined in the process of arresting the criminals. Don't move, police, be honest. Lin Yuewei was pinned down. Her face was pressed against the soil on one side, and her eyes were wide open. She struggled and looked at me. You. I walked over and smiled at her. Thanks to you this time, otherwise, the bald-headed man wouldn't have been able to enter the country. The handcuffed bald-headed man passed by. Hearing this, he stared at Lin Yuewei as if looking at a dead person. Lin Yuewei shivered in fear. When she looked at me again, her emotions had collapsed. No, I didn't, you framed me. This shouldn't be like this, I was reborn. So why is this happening? It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Why don't you die? No, that's not right. I shouldn't have gotten married. It would have been better if I hadn't. Without the car accident, I wouldn't have died. And I wouldn't owe the system 100 million luck points. I would still be the richest person. Obviously so many people loved me. Why did I choose him? I should have married the vice mayor. He liked me the most. No, no, no. I should have married Professor Liu. He has no money and no power, and he's the easiest to control. Marrying Chief Wang would also be good. The conditions of President Shui can barely match me. They all loved me. I'm the heartthrob. I'm the group president. I'm Lin Yuewei who can manipulate everything. This isn't true. This isn't true. She started to go crazy, lying on the ground and crying and laughing non-stop. I felt sorry for her. So I squatted down and told her the truth. In the previous life, her husband coaxed her into falling in love with him with sweet words, but in fact, it was for revenge. Because Lin Yuewei had an underhanded deal with the bald-headed man and kidnapped the wealthy daughter who was excellent in both character and learning, and it happened to be her husband's first love. Her husband had a crush on his first love since he was a child. He didn't expect that his first love would die strangely before he proposed. He started to investigate secretly. During the process, he found several people who shared the same experience as him. Some of them lost their sisters, some lost their wives, and some lost their daughters. The rest of their lives could only be lived in the pain of losing their loved ones. With the same experience, they helped each other and finally found out about Lin Yuewei. Lin Yuewei was simple-minded, stupid, and arrogant, but somehow she had a large family business and was difficult to shake. So, they formulated a careful plan. Therefore, Lin Yuewei's ending had already been written. Whether she got married or not, she couldn't escape death. After hearing this, Lin Yuewei shook her head wildly. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're lying to me. You're just jealous of me. Jealous that so many people pursued me. What you said isn't true. Ha ha ha. I'm right, aren't I? You're jealous that I had everything. Since you couldn't get it, you wanted to destroy it. You just can't stand to see me doing well, right? Yes, that's it. You've always been such a hypocritical and insidious person, Jiang Fanqing. I pity you. You have nothing. You're not as good as me. She said this with a red face and stared straight at me, eagerly waiting for me to say something. I raised my hand to cover my nose and took a step back. You peed your pants. Lin Yuewei was stunned. She looked down at the filth under her and suddenly lost her strength. This time, she was really crazy. Seeing that she was gradually going crazy, I ignored her and turned around and left the scene with the accompanying medical staff. This should be the last time we meet. If nothing unexpected happens, she will be sentenced to at least 10 years in prison. But since she didn't return the luck, she couldn't even live for a year. But all of this was what she deserved. If she hadn't used the system to absorb other people's luck, none of this would have happened. As the saying goes, those who commit many evils will surely come to their own end, and good and evil will be rewarded according to their deeds, which is the way of heaven. She did so many evil deeds in her previous life, so in this life, she can spend the rest of her life repaying them. Goodbye, Lin Yuewei. Her emotions were completely out of control. She fell to the ground with a blank look in her eyes and kept whimpering. I smiled at her and turned around to leave the scene with the accompanying medical staff. This arrest operation was very successful. Our city cracked a major transnational crime case and brought the main criminal, the bald-headed man, and all his accomplices to justice. In the previous life, he was extremely evil but got away with it. After Lin Yuewei got married, he disappeared without a trace, and no news of him could be found anymore. I watched countless innocent lives being killed with my own eyes, but I was powerless. In this life, the evil forces have been completely eradicated, and the stone in my heart has finally fallen. I have a vague feeling that this is the meaning of my rebirth. When I saw the photo of the bald-headed man before, I immediately contacted my father and then sorted out a set of clues for him, before my father went into business. He was a police officer for 20 years. When he saw this document, his face changed, because this set of clues was as detailed as it could be, and after investigation, all of it was true. If my father didn't know me, he might even suspect that I was the bald-headed man. He asked me where I got it, and I shifted the blame telling my father that it was collected by Lin Yuewei. This statement couldn't stand scrutiny. But the clues were really there, compared with the source of the clues. Catching the criminal was more important. I also knew the information about those rich second generations that Lin Yuewei knew. After all, I had followed her for a lifetime, so the hostages became police officers, and a tight net was spread throughout the city, ready to catch the criminals in a trap. After the bald-headed man was brought to justice, he was sentenced to death and executed immediately. The other accomplices were dealt with in accordance with the law, with sentences ranging from life imprisonment to death penalty with a reprieve. Lin Yuewei had a mental breakdown. After appraisal, the situation was confirmed to be true, and she was sent to a mental hospital. Later, it was heard that she disappeared again. No one knew where she had gone. Someone saw her parents bowing and scraping as they pushed her into a van. The driver was suspected to be from Southeast Asia. Before leaving, he threw several stacks of money to her parents, just like that. The news that Lin Yuewei had been trafficked to Myanmar spread quickly. However, this kind of unsubstantiated gossip was forgotten by people within a few days, because the whole competition class was recommended for admission. As soon as I entered the examination room, I would have a fever. As soon as I picked up the exam paper, I would have a headache. Even if I didn't feel uncomfortable, I would get injured and bleed due to bumps and bruises, and couldn't take the exam normally. This everyone knew that we were free. Whenever we had time, we would go to the No.2 teaching building to ask questions. Who had the time to pay attention to other things? I got the recommended admission qualification to the School of Physics at Tsinghua University. Then, amidst the praise and congratulations from teachers and classmates, I gave up the recommended admission. People around me didn't understand my choice. They thought that recommended admission meant a stable opportunity for further study, but at the same time as recommended admission, I would lose the right to choose. Although Tsinghua University is good, it doesn't have the major I want to study. Having a second life, I don't want to be chosen anymore. So, the college entrance examination arrived. I rolled up my sleeves, ready to take the college entrance examination in the most perfect state, without Lin Yuewei and the system. Those strange and unlucky things like catching a cold and having a fever, and falling down while walking all left me. Finally, with a total score of 719 points without bonus points, I was admitted to Peking University's Yuanpei College and chose my favorite major. After the college entrance examination, I started a business and registered a company. My parents thought I was just playing around like a child and didn't take it seriously. Unexpectedly, I earned 100 million yuan in just 1 year. They were surprised that I actually had the ability to make a company thrive and thought I was extremely talented, but I don't have any business talent. I just know the emerging industries in the next 10 years and know the hidden big shots who are still starting their businesses at present. That's all. During the summer vacation of my freshman year, the company's net profit doubled, and we went on a team-building trip abroad. After I came back from the cool and comfortable summer resort, I took my assistant to Thailand, which was hot and humid, to do business. When we arrived at the show venue, the boss smiled obsequiously and said that the poor business was due to the fact that fewer and fewer tourists had come to Thailand in the past 2 years. I didn't comment. I pulled back the carpet in the hall and skillfully entered the underground club, but I didn't expect that the underground club was dim and enclosed. There were all kinds of cages placed there, in which strange-shaped animals were displayed for people to watch. In the very center of the room, there was a high platform, and on the high platform sat a mass of flesh. This turned out to be a human pig with all facial features destroyed. The human pig saw me, tears flowed from its eyes, and it opened its mouth but couldn't make a sound. It twisted wildly. At this time, I heard the familiar system voice coming from the human pig. Disconnected from the target, the attempt to absorb luck failed. Please try again. Story 2. A month after breaking up with Su Zhou, I was diagnosed with severe depression. On the same day, I caught him cornering a girl against the wall, demanding, I broke up with her like we agreed. Now you should be my girlfriend obediently. The girl looked embarrassed and annoyed, but we're like brothers. That day, because she was defiant, Su Zhou punished her severely. As for me, I was distraught and got into a car accident on my way home, dying instantly. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day Su Zhou confessed his feelings to me. The girl sat among a group of men, her face challenging. Su Zhou, go ahead and confess. Don't you like obedient girls? Su Zhou gave her a meaningful look and, in a fit of pique, pulled me into his embrace. Shall we be together? I smiled tenderly. Sure, but if you agree to be my boyfriend, no backing out. 01. In the noisy KTV, Everyone was egging us on. I thought Suzhou disliked girls. Turns out he's been secretly in love with Lin Tingting. It's like a barren tree blooming. In the dim light, Suzhou sat opposite me, his expression unclear. Calm down, don't scare Tingting. I am Lin Tingting, the subject of Suzhou's confession tonight. His group of friends said that Suzhou had been secretly in love with me for many years. If I were with him, I would definitely be the happiest girl. Incidentally, he was also someone I had liked for a long time. Under normal circumstances, I would excitedly agree right away, but at that moment, I was just quietly observing the girl opposite me, Wan Tang, Suzhou's good brother. She was surrounded by a group of guys, her defiant eyes full of provocation. Suzhou, don't you like obedient girls like Tingting? Hurry up and confess, otherwise, you'll have to settle for this tomboy. Suzhou clenched his teeth and scoffed. Who wants to settle for you? I have someone. Then he embraced me, with resentment and reluctance. He repeated the same confession from his previous life. Tingting, shall we be together? I'll treat you well. So, treating me well meant cheating frequently with Wan Tang, giving me the cold shoulder, and driving me to severe depression. The things they did to me in the past life flashed before my eyes like a slideshow. I forced down the sneer tugging at my lips and said cheerily, sure, agree to be my boyfriend, and no backing out. 02. The party ended late at night. It started to pour heavily outside. Everyone decided to stay overnight at a hotel. Unlike in my previous life, this time I insisted on staying with Suzhou. Wan Tang pursed her lips, somewhat smug. Suzhou loves to grope around in his sleep. I can hardly stand it. It's good that you can share the burden now. I nodded politely. Thanks for the heads up. Wan Tang choked, clenched her lips, and fell silent in a huff. Suzhou hugged me and laughed. Tingting, don't mind her. A girlfriend and a brother are not the same. Wan Tang just oh-ed and left nonchalantly. As soon as Suzhou returned to the room, he went to take a shower. I stared out at the rain through the window, recalling the rainy day I died in my previous life. I was already deeply depressed due to our breakup. At the hospital, I suddenly received an anonymous private message. It was a group chat record from the Suzhou brothers group. In the group, Wan Tang blatantly tagged Suzhou. Let's see who can get rid of their single status first. The loser has to fulfill a condition set by the winner. His brothers in the group were gleefully following the conversation. I bet on Wan Tang to win. How could Zhou brother possibly lose? Less than a month later, Suzhou posted a photo of me sleeping on his shoulder, and he tagged Wan Tang. I won. Wan Tang, come out. Wan Tang coolly replied, what do you want? You lost. My condition is that you become my girlfriend. Holding my phone, I was already in tears. The cold violence I had suffered recently and the oppression from being inexplicably dumped finally made sense. It turned out I was just a part of a bet in their ambiguous game. That day, I hurried back to school seeking justice, but at the girls' dormitory, I saw Suzhou pinning Wan Tang against the wall. His teeth clenched as he said, we agreed that I would break up with Lin Tingting, and then you'd be my girlfriend. Wan Tang, flushed with embarrassment and annoyance, replied, we're like brothers. Who would fall for you? She was severely punished by Suzhou for her stubbornness. That day, on my way back, I was so distressed that I got into a car accident. Meanwhile, Suzhou and Wan Tang came together amid the blessings of their close brothers in the group. In the next room, the noise snapped me back to reality. Wan Tang's boisterous laughter came through. We agreed, the loser has to strip. Wan Tang, you lost, take it off. If I must strip, then so be it. Who's afraid? Wan Tang was again playing some excessive game with the group. Suddenly, I was pinned down on the bed. A hoarse voice whispered in my ear, Tingting, I want to kiss you. Suzhou's wet hair was dripping, and his veins stood out on his hand from the effort. I calmly watched the jealousy swirling in his eyes and smiled. Senior, aren't you being a bit too hasty? I knew Suzhou was near his breaking point, unable to have the one he wanted. He came to torment me instead. What kind of absurd morals had he been taught? So, I decided to add fuel to the fire. The crisp sound of the camera shutter woke Suzhou. He saw me holding my phone, his gaze sharpening. Tingting, what are you doing? On the screen was the photo of Suzhou pinning me down on the bed. I opened the chat with Wan Tang and quickly sent it. The laughter next door stopped abruptly. Suzhou stiffened, suddenly shouting, Lin Tingting, have you lost your mind? I shivered as if startled, tears welling up in my eyes. I'm sorry. I sent it to the wrong person. I just wanted to show off my love to my best friend. I didn't mean to send it to Sister Wan Tang. From next door came a man's voice. Hey, Wan Tang, where are you going? You haven't stripped yet. Who upset you? Before Wan Tang could burst through the door, I hurriedly climbed out of bed, my voice breaking with sobs. "Senior, I'm feeling a bit unwell, I'm going to get some fresh air." After speaking, I fled through the door, like a frightened coward guilty of wrongdoing, which perfectly matched Suzhou's impression of me. Meanwhile, my phone accidentally fell under the bed and started recording. In a past life at this moment, Wan Tang and Suzhou were just holding grudges and hadn't gotten together, but I didn't want to wait any longer. Instead of waiting passively, I decided to give them a push and record some evidence in the process. Because I ran away too quickly, I collided hard with someone around the corner of the corridor. A large hand pressed against my forehead, gently pushing me away. I looked up into a pair of deep, dark eyes. "What are you rushing for?" His indifferent voice, coupled with his world-weary face, instantly calmed me down. It was Jiangshi, Suzhou's roommate. He was also the only one among Suzhou's friends from a previous life who criticized my gaze. Now, he was silently staring at the crocodile tears on my cheek. From behind, the sound of Wan Tang knocking on Suzhou's door could be heard. "Suzhou, there was a problem with the competition materials last time. I need to discuss it with you." Around the corner, I pinned Jiangshi against the wall, firmly covering his mouth. His hot breath fell on the palm of my hand. It was burning hot. Jiangshi's eyebrows slightly raised, as if waiting for me to explain. It wasn't until Suzhou opened the door and pulled Wan Tang inside, the door slammed shut. Only then did I bite my lip corner, looking pitifully, and said, "Senior, I had an argument with Suzhou." Jiangshi casually leaned against the window frame. His clear and distinct silhouette framed by the rainy night's window created a stunning picture. "Is that so?" "It doesn't seem like it to me." My expression froze, and I silently stared at him. Wan Tang's voice drifted out from behind the door, unusually clear. "Suzhou, you jerk, we're brothers. What are you doing?" Suzhou sneered. "Lost the game, so strip." "Wan Tang, you're playing big." "None of your business. I want you to be a brother." "You're a brother. I want you to be a girl. You have no say." "Wan Tang, you really need to fix your screw loose." Wan Tang started off defiant, but gradually his voice took on a crying tone. Eventually, it even carried a whining plea for mercy. "What about if Lin Tingting comes back? What's there to be afraid of? It's more thrilling with her just outside." Jiangshi lowered his eyes, letting out a sneer. "You like this kind of trash?" The rain continued to patter outside. I slowly clenched my cold fingertips, smiling faintly. I used to like him a lot. Not anymore. Even though I was calm, the trembling undertone still betrayed my emotions. In a past life, I heeded my mother's advice, got into a good university, and if all went well, I would have a serious relationship with someone I loved, find a stable job after graduation, and live a simple, happy life. But because of this twisted love between these two, my life was ruined. How disgusting. Suddenly, a shadow fell before me. Jiangshi, now standing in front of me, asked, "Want to see them both ruined?" It was a casual remark, yet it sounded like a siren's call at that moment. "Yes, then don't give up on the science and innovation competition." My heart sank suddenly. The science and innovation competition. A competition capable of altering the trajectory of my life, in a past life. Wan Tang and I both made it to the finals. Because of Suzhou's sweet nothings, I voluntarily withdrew. This allowed Wan Tang to win first place and secure a job with $1 million annual salary. She even managed in the future, with a casual remark, to have me fired from a hard-earned job, cutting off my financial source. This was my secret. How did Jiangshi know? I didn't ask. Jiangshi didn't say much either. We both tacitly kept our own secrets. The night passed without any conversations. The next morning, Suzhou found me in the corridor. "Listen, where did you go last night? I knocked last night, but you didn't answer. So, I checked into another room." Suzhou pursed his lips. "I shouldn't have yelled at you last night. I'm sorry. How about I make it up to you by taking you on a vacation?" I kept my head down, remaining silent. Just minutes earlier, because Wan Tang was hesitant to admit her feelings, they had just had an argument. Even so, after receiving the final list for the competition, Suzhou decided to persuade me to withdraw from the contest, to give Wan Tang a chance. Wan Tang walked out from the room next door. The wind blew her hair, exposing the kiss mark on her neck. Everyone started teasing. "Wan Tang, is there something going on?" She hurriedly covered her neck, a flash of embarrassment in her eyes. "No." This response undoubtedly made Suzhou even angrier. Suzhou gave her a cold glance, his expression slightly stern. He affectionately touched my ear. "Listen, come inside. I have something to tell you." I went back to my room to retrieve my suitcase and phone. Turning around, I saw Suzhou closing the door. He then came over and gently hugged me. Listen, you made it to the finals of the science and technology competition. I pretended to be surprised, widening my eyes. Really, yes, but even if you win the championship, you won't be able to join our H company or sign that high salary contract, because you're too soft, and you can't handle a high-stress work environment. I stared at Suzhou seriously as he played his part, struggling to suppress the smirk on my lips. He did the same in my past life, constantly undermining my confidence, persuading me to drop out. Listen, I've seen many like you, they never make it through the internship. Suzhou spoke earnestly, but luckily, you met me, after graduation. You can join my family's company, and no one will dare to bully you. You should drop out of the competition. I bit my lip, hesitating for a long time before asking, is going to your family company reliable? I come from a single-parent family and I don't feel very secure. Suzhou held me tightly. Don't worry, listen, I'll propose to you on the day of the competition. I'll give you the security you need. I leaned on his shoulder, smiling, yet my eyes were filled with coldness. I am a child from a single-parent family and lack a sense of security. I once told Suzhou this seriously, and then, cautiously and joyfully, I looked forward to our future, giving Suzhou the chance to deceive me. This time around, he would pay the price for those words. As the competition approached day by day, I spent more and more time in front of the computer. My roommate came back from outside and asked, listen, you haven't eaten all day, are you sure you're okay? I stared at the computer, responding casually, yeah, I'll eat later. The conversation dropped there. A message from Suzhou popped up on my phone. There's a concert tonight, and I'd like you to come with me. Over the past week, Suzhou had been finding all sorts of reasons to ask me out. It was draining my time. Normally, I could handle it, but today, my stomach was hurting, so I used that as an excuse to brush him off. My roommate commented, Suzhou really cares about you. It's almost common knowledge throughout the campus. I closed the chat with Suzhou without replying. Then, Jiangshi called, Lin Tingting, come downstairs for dinner. He had been away at another school for a competition, and I hadn't expected him back so soon. I said, my stomach hurts, I don't want to go. Are you coming down yourself, or should I storm into your dorm and carry you out? Minutes later, wrapped in my coat, I pushed open the dorm building's main door. I felt so lightheaded as I walked. I told you I don't want to eat. Jiangshi, looking grim, touched my forehead. You're sick. You skip meals just because I'm out at a conference. When Jiangshi was around, he made sure I ate 3 meals a day, even if Suzhou had called me out. Upon returning, Jiangshi would still forcibly feed me a late-night snack. I wanted to say something but ended up collapsing into Jiangshi's arms, losing consciousness. Then everything went dark. As if floating through a murky swamp, loud arguing reached my ears from afar, muffled as if through cotton, all cramming into my ears. It felt like another world. Mr. Jiang, Lin Tingting is dead. What happened? A car accident. Jiangshi, calm down. I can't fucking calm down. Damn those two bastards. Do you like Lin Tingting? If not, why seek revenge for her? One doesn't need to like someone to avenge them. I can't stand seeing the good people being bullied. Lin Tingting, I think I like you. Lin Tingting, I'm coming to find you. 07. I suddenly opened my eyes. In the quiet hospital room, the occasional beep of machines could be heard. Jiangshi, head bowed, sat on the couch, apparently asleep. I studied him intently, uncertain whether the voices were hallucinations or real events from a past life after my death. Jiangshi looked exhausted, with faint dark circles under his eyes, probably because of my illness. Noticing my gaze, his eyelashes twitched, and he slowly opened his eyes. Our eyes met, his voice hoarse and weary. Jiangshi asked, Lin Tingting, why are you staring at me? Out of nowhere, I blurted, you like me. Jiangshi stiffened, his eyes instantly clearing, his familiar teasing tone returned. So young, yet so narcissistic. I was taken aback, turned away my face, and didn't respond. The doctor said that due to high stress, I had developed acute gastric ulcers and needed to be hospitalized for IV therapy. I said I wanted ice cream. Jiangshi retorted, Lin Tingting, do I look like your dad? I worry about you so much. My hair's turning white. In the end, he still bought a box of strawberry-flavored ice cream. He handed me a small spoonful, and then he ate the rest. Since he had been staying with me frequently, he's picked up a new quirk. When things get busy, Jiangshi has a habit of tossing his phone to me. He asks me to help read his messages. Just then, the phone buzzed again. I smoothly unlocked it and saw that Suzhou had sent a message in the dorm group chat. What's it about this time? Jiangshi asked nonchalantly, reluctantly. I read the message aloud. Bro Zhou, Are you really planning to use your looks to win over Lin Tingting? Also, Wan Tang can come first without hesitation. Isn't Wan Tang still giving you the cold shoulder? Suzhou replied harshly. Wan Tang is as stubborn as a mule. What choice do I have but to coax her? I've fallen into her trap, and I admit it. After I finished reading, the room fell silent. Was he trying to clearly tell me that I'm an idiot? The dim light from the computer illuminated Jiangshi's distinct facial features. He really was good looking. I don't even know why. Ever since I woke up, every time I look at Jiangshi, my heart starts beating uncontrollably faster. Suddenly, I spoke softly. Senior, it hurts. Jiangshi lifted his eyelids, his dark eyes harboring an indiscernible emotion. Where does it hurt? My stomach. His expression tightened. He closed the laptop and came over. As he approached, he read the inquiry in my eyes. I grinned. And you said you didn't like me? After a brief pause, Jiangshi flashed a dangerous smile. You deserve it. Better to die of pain. You even got medicine for me. Are you worried about me? Jiangshi coldly said. Shut up, or I'll poison you to death. During my hospital stay, whenever Suzhou came to visit, Jiangshi would briefly disappear. On the day I was discharged, Suzhou dragged Jiangshi along to help. Lately, Suzhou seemed to be in a good mood. Even when he listened to me, there was a smile in his eyes. Probably because everything was going smoothly, after all. Wan Tang was back in their little group, sharing the same milk tea with him, and always wanting to be his dad. Tingting, I'm taking you out to stay tonight. Tomorrow was the competition. Suzhou had arranged everything meticulously. Even though I had agreed in person to withdraw, he still wasn't reassured, afraid that I'd cause trouble for Wan Tang if I returned to school. I quietly asked, isn't it inappropriate to leave school privately in front of the student council president? Jiangshi gave me a knowing look. Suzhou laughed. Coincidentally, the student council president is my roommate, and your hospitalization was through his connections. We are on good terms. Jiangshi acknowledged with an O. That might not work. Why not? Ms. Su just called, asking me to bring Lin Tingting back. Suzhou became anxious. Why has Ms. Su suddenly taken an interest in Lin Tingting? The person who secretly complained curled their lips. Don't know. Maybe she's worried about the patient making trouble, and they're checking their dorm tonight. Lin Tingting needs to be there. Reluctantly, Suzhou took me back to school. Along the way, he repeatedly reminded me that he would propose to me tomorrow. I was moved to tears. Suzhou, you're the first person to be so kind to me. Tomorrow, I'll be waiting for you. On the day I went to submit the competition documents, I ran into Wan Tang at the door. Lin Tingting. Weren't you supposed to withdraw from the competition? Wan Tang looked surprised. Amidst a hint of panic, I calmly handed the materials to the teacher. Why should I give up such a great opportunity? But your personality isn't suitable. My personality isn't suitable, and you think yours, always playing the father figure, is, I retorted without holding back. Better mind your own business. While Wan Tang was busy sharing a milk tea with others, letting them call her dad. I had already utilized the market trends of the next 3 years to create the best entrepreneurial project. Wan Tang was completely thrown off balance. She grabbed my arm, forcing a smile. Suzhou confessed his love for you today. Aren't you going? It's Suzhou we're talking about. I chuckled lightly. It's such a rare opportunity. You should go. Wan Tang's face turned pale in an instant. On the way to the competition, Suzhou's remarks kept flashing back in my mind. Just a lovesick fool. Being a stepping stone for Wan Tang is her honor. I'll marry Wan Tang in the future, and Lin Tingting will have to sit at the main table. If Wan Tang had come to her senses earlier, there wouldn't have been anything for Lin Tingting. I smiled, feeling warmth around my eyes. In my past life, I never reached this competition, but today, I was here. Nobody knows the hardships I endured and the detours I took for this position. My phone, tucked in my backpack, started vibrating wildly. I guessed it was Suzhou calling. In both past and present lives, Suzhou never doubted his charm. He was so confident that I would skip the competition just to witness his foolish proposal. I watched with delight as Wan Tang stood frozen, about to cry. Tingting, you go first. The teacher called me. Just before I went on stage, Suzhou hurried back and grabbed me. With a stern voice, he said, Lin Tingting, didn't you promise me you'd give up the competition? I looked at him innocently. A smile I couldn't suppress playing on my lips. Senior, could you confess your love for me here? Just say you love me, and I will leave everything behind to be with you. The commotion quickly attracted a crowd. People pointed and whispered, isn't that Lin Tingting, the one RH company is interested in? They say she'll sign a contract right after the competition. She's way more impressive than Wan Tang. Suzhou's eyes flickered, and the next second, He wrapped his arms around my waist, speaking rapidly. Ting Ting, I can give you everything if you just come with me, would you? The scene fell into dead silence. Wan Tang looked at me as if I was a lifeline. I slowly smiled, clearly articulating my response. Of course not, idiot. As his gaze darkened, I mocked unhurriedly. Just playing around. You didn't really think I was lovesick, did you? You're so naive. Meanwhile, whispers erupted among the crowd. Suzhou and Wan Tang had a thing. Damn, buddies by day, passion by night. That's really dirty. Wan Tang is so disgusting. That evening, the audio recording I made came into play. The forum post fermented and had already hit the homepage. Wan Tang's coquettish voice disgusted many. She blends in with men all day, acting like a tomboy, but sounds like this. Wan Tang turned pale, biting her lip as tears rolled down her cheeks. Realizing he'd been played, Suzhou's look turned ice cold. Lin Tingting, are you sure you want to do this to her? I raised an eyebrow, waiting for him to continue. Suddenly, Suzhou sneered. Ladies and gentlemen, I accuse Lin Tingting of plagiarism. As soon as he said this, the room exploded into chaos. Suzhou pulled out a printed draft of a graduation thesis. Lin Tingting, can you explain why your topic is the same as Jiangshi's thesis? I was stunned when I saw Jiangshi's topic. In my past life, Jiangshi's thesis wasn't this. He also seemed to have a perfect grasp of the trends 3 years from now. Suzhou said, Jiangshi only met you a few times, and you stole his work. Lin Tingting, do you deserve my sincerity? The principal looked stern. Student Lin Tingting, please explain yourself. This topic was quite unpopular in today's view. I calmed myself and explained, Principal, just because the topics are the same doesn't prove plagiarism. Stop making excuses. Without Jiangshi, could you have thought of this? The principal waved his hand impatiently. The competition cannot be delayed. Lin Tingting is disqualified. With just those light words, the staff pulled out my materials and threw them into the trash can. I let out a mocking laugh. It felt like I was back in my past life when I was falsely accused of plagiarism by Wan Tang and lost my job. They were powerful and numerous. A few words from them could twist the truth. The teachers and students below were buzzing with comments. I thought she was so capable. What a disappointment. Exposing her boyfriend with a recording. She can't be any good. Suddenly, Wan Tang exclaimed in shock. Ah, Ting Ting. How could you be cheating on someone else? Wan Tang excitedly pulled out a photo from her phone, showing it to the students around her. In the photo, under the dim night sky, a tall figure was bending over at the bedside, stealing a kiss from the sleeping me. Only my profile could be seen in the photo. Suzhou was stunned, his face full of scorn and disgust almost overflowing. Really, you accuse me of cheating? Why don't you look at yourself, with so many men in the school? Are they all your boyfriends? Lin Tingting, you've broken several school rules. You can only be expelled. If you kneel and beg now, I might still take care of you. I stared at Suzhou's beast-like face, about to pull out my phone to call the police, raising my hand to slap him. Suddenly, out of nowhere, with a loud bang, Suzhou was kicked off the stage. Jiangshi appeared behind him at some point. He smirked coldly. Say that again. Who are you going to take care of? I've kept her well-fed and healthy. What right do you have? You pauper, to take care of anyone. Jiangshi's arrival silenced the crowd. The principal was speechless. Jiangshi, weren't you at the neighboring school? Jiangshi glanced at Suzhou. I heard someone shamelessly bullying a classmate. As the student council president, I had to come back and stand up for my fellow students. Suzhou frowned. Jiangshi, she plagiarized your paper and I was taking revenge for you. Why did you kick me? Jiangshi's face remained cold. Who said she copied me? Can't I copy her instead? Suzhou was taken aback, finally sensing something was amiss. Dude, brother sure. What kind of spell has she cast on you? He was livid, holding up a photo. Her private life is a mess. She's involved with countless men. Jiangshi lazily glanced at the photo and said, that's me. Damn it. Everyone was stunned. Jiangshi snatched the photo and smirked coldly. I rarely act like a hooligan. And you caught it on camera. Are you asking for trouble? Suzhou looked as if his brain had been drained, his face deathly pale. No, you wouldn't do that. The principal chimed in. Jiangshi, you're a good student. Don't let emotions cloud your judgment. Jiangshi lifted his eyelids lazily, his voice cold. Sorry, principal, but this good student likes to secretly play dirty. Knowing that Lin Tingting has a boyfriend, I still went ahead and seduced her. I'm sorry to disappoint you. The atmosphere peaked with Jiangshi's words. Curious students quickly logged onto the school forum. Come and see, it's getting exciting. Is this a love square? No, it's Suzhou and Wan Tang turning the tables. Did Suzhou just spread false rumors? I ignored the chaos around and said to the principal, I want to call the police. The principal went pale. Lin Tingting, what are you doing? Suzhou just accused me of being promiscuous and spread false rumors about me. Everyone heard it. Suzhou, furious and embarrassed, retorted. You know what you did. What did I do? My eyes reddened under Suzhou's gaze. A few minutes later, surrounded by the principal and teachers, they pleaded, calm down, let's not escalate this, put down the phone. I felt deeply wronged. Suzhou is certain about my disordered private life, which means he must have seen me with someone else. I have no knowledge of this, so I suspect someone took advantage of me while I was asleep. I want to report a rape, and Suzhou is my witness. Suzhou looked extremely uncomfortable. Wan Tang was too scared to speak. Only then did everyone realize the severity of the situation. Jiangshi, enjoying the drama, added, this is serious, you should call the police. The incident ended with Suzhou being forced to take a leave of absence. Days later, the competition proceeded smoothly. I defeated Wan Tang with overwhelming superiority and won the championship. RH Company immediately offered me a job. Miss Lin, you are a very insightful person. Would you consider joining our company after graduation? If this had been right after I was reborn, I would have signed the contract without hesitation, but now, I declined. May I ask why? I smiled. Someone offered me a more tempting deal. That was Suzhou's brother, Su Yanhe. He traded Suzhou's future and 3 years of market trends for my cooperation. I had no reason to refuse. After the competition, Jiangshi and I walked side by side along the tree-lined path. The warm spring breeze freely brushed our shoulders. I remembered that photo. After hesitating for a long time, I finally asked, why did you kiss me secretly? Jiangshi's eyes, hidden in the dappled light, were inscrutable. Haven't you already figured it out? Because I like you, since our last lifetime. In his previous life, Jiangshi first met Lin Tingting on a hot summer afternoon. Brother Shi, did you know Suzhou is in a relationship? He heard just after attending a lecture. She wore a faded old dress and sat demurely in the corner of the KTV, amidst the teasing of the crowd. She seemed uneasy, a poor student from the school. Lin Tingting, Jiangshi knew her. He had to approve her monthly subsidy. He had seen Lin Tingting's face countless times. Lin Tingting wanted to greet him. Jiangshi coldly replied. She looks obedient, but there's something off about her eyes. He hoped Lin Tingting would understand the hidden meaning. Suzhou was not a good person. If someone asked Jiangshi who he disliked the most, he would say people obsessed with romance. Therefore, Lin Tingting's presence was like dancing in a minefield for him. He couldn't understand how someone could starve themselves to save money for a man's expenses. Suzhou was not short of money. When he said this, the poor students who came to collect their subsidy looked at him with wide eyes and said, Lin Tingting is not obsessed with romance. She's a genuinely good person, kind to everyone. If you have a problem, she would help you too. Jiangshi thought to himself, she must be a saint. Because of a casual joke from Suzhou, Lin Tingting seriously started saving money for him. She had no idea that a pair of Suzhou's shoes could cost tens of thousands. Nor did she know that the boy she liked mocked her behind her back as an unsophisticated bumpkin. Jiangshi was furious. When Lin Tingting came looking for Suzhou, he snapped at her. Hey, I can't afford a meal. Lend me some money. Frightened, Lin Tingting shrank back and handed him a banknote. She treated him like a robber. From that day on, Jiangshi began to pay out of his own pocket to provide Lin Tingting with a subsidy. In the name of the school, Lin Tingting's living expenses increased. Yet she did not gain weight. She remained thin, like a kite that could be blown away by the wind at any moment. In the second semester of his junior year, Jiangshi was going abroad as an exchange student. Before leaving, he specifically had someone inquire about Lin Tingting. They said, she's not having any difficulties in life, and her relationship with Suzhou is quite stable. The extra living expenses she had, she donated them all. Jiangshi asked, donated where? To girls in impoverished mountain areas and some female students who couldn't afford tuition fees. Jiangshi was truly exasperated. You have to admit, there are some people in the world who just love to illuminate others' paths. Even if they can barely survive themselves, they still think about lighting the way for the next generation. Before leaving, Jiangshi instructed someone to regularly deposit money into her account. He would be gone for 2 years. Life abroad was chaotic, and he barely managed to cope. He occasionally called back home. He learned that Lin Tingting had passed her graduation defense. She had signed a decent job. She hadn't broken up with Suzhou. It seemed that Lin Tingting's life was so serene, so much so that any presumptuous disturbance by him was unwarranted. when Jiangshi returned, he was to take over the family business. At the welcome party, Su Zhou and Wan Tang had become a couple. After a brief moment of shock, Jiangshi suddenly remembered someone. As if possessed, he asked, "What about Lin Tingting?" Wan Tang pouted disdainfully. "Oh, she's not in good spirits, she's in the hospital." "What's wrong with her?" "Depression." She seemed to remember a joke, laughing uproariously. Falling in love had left him depressed. It seems the children of the poor really can't afford to play this game, perhaps noticing his pallid complexion. The welcome banquet did not last long. As soon as Jiangshi stepped out, he made a phone call. "What's going on with Lin Tingting? Why didn't you tell me she has depression?" The voice on the other end was bitter. "Mr. Jiang, Lin Tingting was dumped by Su Zhou. I can't exactly force Su Zhou to take her back. Plus, you never asked me to report these things to you." "Oh, and she was fired from her company last month." Jiangshi, unusually out of control, yelled into the phone, "Then find her a job. She's hospitalized and can't work." Jiangshi, furious, slammed down the phone. He cursed into the air. Damn it, if Lin Tingting had any sense, she would have kicked Su Zhou to the curb. How could she let herself be treated like this? Jiangshi felt a blockage in his heart. He couldn't understand why Lin Tingting was depressed. He consulted a psychologist. The psychologist explained, "Mr. Jiang, have you heard of the boiling frog syndrome? 3 years is enough time to trap a healthy person in increasingly scalding water. And even if she wants to climb out now, it's too late. She's not just suffering from depression, her physical health is deteriorating too." In other words, Su Zhou and Wan Tang must have subjected Lin Tingting to prolonged mental torture. Jiangshi was unaware of all this. All he could do was find Lin Tingting the best doctors. Afraid that his presence might remind her of Su Zhou, he didn't even dare to visit her. The news of Wan Tang being with Su Zhou had stirred many people. Every now and then, Jiangshi would hear about parties he was invited to, where Su Zhou and Wan Tang would flaunt their relationship. Su Zhou said he had been secretly in love with Wan Tang for 4 years. For years, their entire college time. Only then did Jiangshi realize Lin Tingting had been played. One day, as a shareholder, Jiangshi attended a meeting at Su Yanhe's company. At the entrance, he kicked Su Zhou to the ground. Su Yanhe raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Jiang, kicking my brother in front of me. Isn't that a bit much?" Still unsatisfied, Jiangshi kicked him a couple more times. That evening, he received news of Lin Tingting's death. She died in a car accident. Her body was emaciated. On Lin Tingting's phone, there were screenshots left. They were of Su Zhou and Wan Tang's chat logs in a group of over 300 people. The screenshots were sent to Lin Tingting from Wan Tang's alternate account. She just wanted to push Lin Tingting over the edge, to let her fragile existence fall into the abyss sooner. When Jiangshi first saw these, after finishing, he simply said 2 words, "Scum." Jiangshi began to take revenge on Wan Tang and Su Zhou. His methods were so extreme they were irrational. Initially, Su Yanhe made symbolic attempts to protect Su Zhou, but eventually, he gave up. Once when Jiangshi was drunk, Su Yanhe even asked, "Do you like Lin Tingting? If not, why seek revenge for her?" Jiangshi replied, "You don't have to like someone to avenge them. I just can't stand seeing good people being bullied. Any decent man would feel the same." Later, Wan Tang, having been implicated in plagiarism early in her career, was sued by many and ultimately lost her job. As for Su Zhou, every encounter with Jiangshi ended in a beating. Su Yanhe, siding with Jiangshi, made Su Zhou's life a living hell. It wasn't long before Su Zhou lost a leg. Su Yanhe asked, "Is this enough? Should we finish them off?" Jiangshi said, "Enough." Jiangshi saw himself as a man of justice. One late night, he casually opened up a folded group chat. At the bottom, there was a large group that had been disbanded. In that moment, a bitter wave fiercely struck him, throwing him into a seemingly bottomless sea. The stakes and secrets he should have been aware of were blatantly displayed on the screen, yet he had forgotten that he was also part of the group. Would Lin Tingting hate him? Jiangshi spent the whole night smoking. The next morning, he got up early, grabbed Su Zhou and pushed him into the car. The race car sped along the winding mountain road. Su Zhou was terrified and kept begging for mercy. Jiangshi, however, was in a good mood. "Su Zhou, do you think if I drive off the cliff, I'll get to see the person I want to meet?" Trembling, Su Zhou pleaded, "Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry. I was wrong to play with Lin Tingting's feelings. I'm despicable. I really don't want to die. Please let me go." These words, however, only provoked Jiangshi's inner ruthlessness. He floored the accelerator, speeding to the mountain top. The roaring engine shattered the clouds in the sky. Before his death, Suzhou suddenly seized the steering wheel. The car, like a drunken beast, staggered headlong towards the cliff. Jiangshi was thrown from the car, his body riddled with fractures. Suzhou went down with the car over the cliff. With an explosion, there was nothing left of him. During his dazed moments, Jiangshi still did not see Lin Tingtian. He felt that all those beautiful myths were nonsense. There was no heaven, no hell. When a person dies, everything ends. Eventually, he lay on an emergency room bed in the hospital, watching the incandescent light above streak backwards. A nurse chattered beside him, reporting his blood pressure and heart rate. In the badge hanging from the nurse's chest, he saw a familiar sticker. It was Lin Tingtian's favorite sticker. He vaguely reached out, grabbed the nurse and asked, "Do you know Lin Tingtian?" The nurse replied, "She is my sponsor." The badge reading rescue and help made his head spin. The nurse's eyes were as clear as Lin Tingtian's. "Lie still, let me save you." "Hey, Jiangshi." I waved my hand in front of Jiangshi's eyes. "What are you thinking about?" Since he had inexplicably confessed to me, Jiangshi seemed to have lost his soul. He came to his senses, stared at me for a while, then suddenly said, "I was wondering, if I kiss you now, would you hit me?" We silently looked at each other. Jiangshi swallowed, suddenly grabbed my wrist, pinned it behind me, and leaned down to kiss me. He bit hard and fiercely. It hurt so much that I frowned. He didn't let me dodge. The spring breeze joyfully and gently swirled around us, like my heart leaping joyously. After a long time, Jiangshi reluctantly let go of me. "Lin Tingtian, shall we go eat?" Suddenly, I had a strange feeling. It seemed Jiangshi was particularly insistent about having meals with me. The thing he said to me most was, "Eat well." In the following days, I became quite popular at school. Wherever I went, people greeted me. I was even selected as one of the school's outstanding figures of the year and invited to an interview. Tingtian. Recently Ruantang has been spreading rumors everywhere, saying that you won the competition only because Jiangshi helped you. My roommate pushed the forum post in front of me, exposing the secrets behind Lin Tingtian's award. Due to Ruantang's rumors, many people took them to be true. Do you know what it means to set up a persona? The one who ranks first can't just be an ordinary person. Let me put it this way, in this room, any junior who manages to surpass Jiangshi will take the top spot. Unlike us guys, we don't have that kind of support. I still support Ruantang though. Her roommate was furious. "You didn't even know Jiangshi when you finished your first draft. These people just can't stand seeing a girl succeed." I encountered Ruantang in the academic building. She was as carefree as ever. "Listen, if you get involved romantically with guys, you'll lose sooner or later. You could learn from me. Be one of the guys, and when you enter society, you'll have more options." Looks like I'm not losing after all. Haha. I looked at her calmly. "Alright, senior, keep it up." I turned around and reported the matter to the school. Ruantang was called in by the school due to her rumor-mongering. After all, the science and innovation competition was a major focus of the city. Her reckless online statements had tarnished the school's image. Ruantang tried to get those guys to help her. "Didn't you say you supported me?" Lin Tingting must be hiding something. If we band together against her, we can definitely succeed. The guys avoided eye contact. Ruantang couldn't contain her anger anymore. "I wasted my time with you, a bunch of ungrateful wretches." Someone sneered impatiently. "You really think you're one of the guys? We'll take an easy opportunity if it's given. Why not? Plus, you're quite soft to the touch." Ruantang froze on the spot. Her eyes instantly reddened. Ruantang, unwilling to give up, said, "Teacher, Lin Tingting is Jiangshi's girlfriend. Is it fair for him to help her?" The teacher explained helplessly. Jiangshi did not vote for Lin Tingting. Neither his dorm mates nor any student council members participated in the voting. The results were completely fair. Ruantang became infamous on the school forum. Those who had been wronged by her before mocked her. "Ruantang, the goddess. Where are your good brothers to help you now? Guys aren't that stupid, pretty and flattering. Why wouldn't we take advantage? Now that her reputation is ruined, who would want to hang out with her?" 13. I signed an agreement with Suzhou's brother. Su Yanhe would support me until I graduate from my master's, and he made sure I could join his family's company. Only then did I realize he had been wanting to ruin Suzhou for a long time. The new semester started. Ruantang seemed a bit off. In 1 week, she fought with her roommate and classmates 5 times. There was even bloodshed. Following my advice, Su Yanhe let Suzhou return. When Ruantang was called away by a teacher for a talk, Suzhou was sitting across from me. "Tingting, I'm sorry. I listened to my brother and will get along well with you." He clearly hadn't escaped Su Yanhe's handling. He had learned his lesson. I smiled slightly. "It's all in the past. I asked the senior here today to discuss a handover. There are some areas I don't quite understand and need your guidance. This new academic year, the title of Vice President of the Student Council fell upon me. Suzhou's eyes lit up. Okay, Ting Ting, whatever you want. Just then, Wan Tang passed by the door and suddenly grabbed onto the doorframe. Suzhou, what are you doing here? You're trying to get back together with her, aren't you? The sharp interrogation echoed inside the room. I replied, sorry, we were just discussing work. Senior, you've misunderstood. Wan Tang's gaze was icy. Get lost. Did I even speak to you? I stepped back, helplessly looking towards Suzhou. Senior, it seems we can't continue today. I'll come to your place another time. Suzhou hummed an acknowledgement and walked past Wan Tang. Wan Tang, no longer bothering to scold me, quickly followed after Suzhou. I turned back to my computer screen where Suzhou's chat window was pinned to the top. Over the next week, I would chat with Suzhou frequently. Suddenly, I was lifted by the waist and placed on the desk. Jiangshi was stern-faced as he kissed me. Lin Tingting, are you getting too caught up in the act? Still smiling at Suzhou, why are you rewarding him? Holding Jiangshi's shoulders, my breathing uneven, I said, Senior, don't call me senior. I'm your boyfriend, call me by my name. I smiled. Jiangshi kissed me passionately, his hand on my waist, giving it a squeeze. You've gained a bit of weight. What do you want to eat today? I stared at him seriously. Why do you always want to eat with me? Jiangshi pressed his lips together, brushed my hair away. Because I don't want you to end up like you did in your previous life, all skin and bones. Ting Ting, that's my lifetime nightmare. The warm sunlight from outside showered over us. His warmth was conveyed without a trace of loss. I finally asked the question that had troubled me for a long time. Why do you also remember? Could it be that you also died? Jiangshi's smile was bright and dazzling. Nonsense. I died of old age. 14. 2 weeks later, Wan Tang burst into the school's broadcast station. In front of Suzhou, she cried bitterly. Suzhou, I've liked you for many years. You can't abandon me for Lin Tingting. As she spoke, the speakers of the broadcast station were still on. Wan Tang grabbed my clothes, deliberately preventing me from turning off the broadcast. Ting Ting, I know you hate me, but aren't you afraid of retribution for meddling in my relationship with Suzhou? And you're already with Jiangshi, yet you're unclear with Suzhou in the broadcast room. Are you being fair to Jiangshi? Curious onlookers gathered. They began discussing on the school forum. Lin Tingting meddling, what's going on? Wan Tang has really lost it. Who jokes about this kind of thing? It's a rest day. What were Lin Tingting and Suzhou doing in the broadcast room? Suspicious. Who knows Jiangshi? Give him a heads up. Jiangshi replied personally below. I'm at the scene. At the same time, the sliding door behind the broadcast room opened. School teachers, student council members, and Jiangshi were all present. Dozens of eyes stared at Wan Tang, mocking, scoffing, puzzled. The teacher spoke sternly. Wan Tang, you've gone too far. Wan Tang shuddered. Why? I clearly heard. The teacher rebuked without mercy. Tonight was our program to welcome the school anniversary. What are you snooping around for? Suzhou withdrew his hand from Wan Tang's embrace, his tone cold. Wan Tang, I've always treated you like a brother. It's unfortunate you misunderstood. Let's end it here. Witnessing the whole scene, the onlookers couldn't help but laugh. Lin Tingting is busy dating Jiangshi. Who cares about Suzhou? Suzhou is ambiguous with others. Whoever wants to be the fallback guy can be, but I definitely won't be. Later, the school sent Wan Tang to the counseling center. The doctor diagnosed Wan Tang with depression and recommended hospital treatment. I contacted her parents for her. Depression? Is it that serious? Her parents frowned deeply. I nodded earnestly. I had a friend who went from mild to severe depression and eventually died, so I suggest you get her treated sooner rather than later. Despite Wan Tang's objections, her parents insisted on sending her to the hospital. On the day Wan Tang was taken away, she cursed me fiercely. Lin Tingting, you'll pay for this someday. I smiled and said, Senior, I'll remember your words. I hope you remember me when you take your medication. Watching Wan Tang's car slowly disappear, my smile finally faded. My palm was marked from clenching it so tightly. Jiangshi handed me a cup of milk tea. I took a sip. It was sweet, mixed with the scent of jasmine. I said, those medicines are really bitter. I take them seriously every day to stay alive. I hope she does the same. Jiangshi patted my head. Don't worry, she won't suffer any less than you did. Actually, I once asked Jiangshi about his plans for the future. Given another chance, he could use the information advantage to greatly develop his family's business. And indeed, that's what Jiangshi did. During our first year together, Jiangshi went abroad. Before leaving, he weighed me. If you've lost weight by the time I return, just you wait. As graduation approached, I secured a position as a grad student at my university. This allowed me to manage the business of Su Yanhe's company as well. Su Zhou wholeheartedly thought I was assisting Su Yanhe with the intent of marrying into the Su family. Unfortunately, he never got my confession. He was ousted from the company. Brother, Lin Tingting is my person. If I leave, she'll leave with me. Su Yanhe raised an eyebrow. Oh, is that so? At the shareholders' meeting, I sat next to Chairman Su Yanhe, dressed impeccably. In 2 years, a certain sharpness had developed between my youthful brows. Su Yanhe looked at me, not sparing any sarcasm. Zhou always thought I was grooming a wife for him, didn't he realize? I grinned, he really had no clue. After so many years of Su Yanhe's campaigns, I had become his most capable assistant. Everyone was silent, not even daring to laugh. I said, Mr. Su is my boss. Su Zhou, we part here. This time, Jiangshi stayed abroad for 5 years. The first project between the Jiang and Su families, which I managed, accurately predicted market risks and made a huge splash in the domestic market in its first year. Stocks of both families soared. In August, the heir of the Jiang family returned home. As part of the collaboration, I was there to welcome him. On the airport's large screen, the day's news was still scrolling. In recent years, the number of people suffering from depression has greatly increased. Yesterday, a highly talented student from University A committed suicide, previously diagnosed with severe depression. Experts urge the public to pay attention to mental health. I stared at the news, momentarily dazed. In that once possible world, I could have been the subject of that news. Lin Tingting, long time no see. Someone stood in front of me. The midday sun ruthlessly penetrated the airport glass. The surrounding light scattered like shattered colored glass. I looked up, meeting those dark, intense eyes. 5 years had smoothed the sharp edges and the defiance in Jiangshi's eyes. Leaving behind a calmer demeanor, he reached out his hand towards me. Let me see if you've lost weight. I smiled slowly.